if your business does have a little bit more of an upfront cost associated with it, which I don't recommend doing this, but I have done this in the past, you can use the second C, which is how do you get money to start a business? This is something that a lot of new entrepreneurs ask. They are trapped in a 9-to-5 job or a crappy retail job, and they see these entrepreneurs that are crushing it, business moguls, making money, living free lives, not reporting to a boss. And some people think they can't do it because they don't have any money. And then they search on YouTube how to get money to start a business, and they end up on this video. I made this video for you. How do you get money to start a business? I'm going to tell you how I got the money to start my businesses and also what you should do. Who am I? I'm Alex Berman. I've generated over $10 million and currently run multiple businesses. X27 is a marketing agency where we help other companies book meetings with billion-dollar brands. We have a software company, and we have a course called Email 10K, which is the definitive business course. If you want to learn how to start a business, how to grow a business, how to work with clients that can afford you, that's all covered for free at email10k.com. And yet, every company that I've started has been what they call bootstrapped. Bootstrapped means we didn't raise money. We pulled ourselves up from our bootstraps, is where that phrase comes from. And we did that in two ways. And I call them the 2 C's. And the 2 C's are customers and credit cards. Let me break that down in more detail. Funding a business through customers means you are selling your service or product and then using that money to fund the business. For instance, for our marketing services, our first client was the company that I was working for as director of marketing, and they hired us on as freelance marketing people. And so that was the first contract that I had for marketing, and I was able to use that revenue to hire a team that was qualified. We've generated millions of dollars of revenue just from cold email. It's not as straightforward and as easy as it looks. We have put together the cold email optimization checklist. To get it, go over to experiment27.com/checklist, and you can have it for free. We've also done that for our marketing reviews, and I talk about this in the course, and I actually show you the emails step by step how we negotiated a $152,000 deal. But in that case study, I break down how while we had the team recruited, we didn't hire any of the team that was going to implement the deal until that deal was done. So when you talk about how to get money to start a business, we raised $152,000, but what we really did was sell, which cost us nothing because it's just our time, and if we're new entrepreneurs, our time's really worth nothing. Then once the client paid us, we were able to use that money to hire. So that's the easiest, most straightforward thing to do. And if you're a new entrepreneur, that's the way I recommend it. Because yes, there are venture capital firms, there are places you can pitch, you can raise hundreds of millions of dollars, you can do all that stuff. If you don't have some kind of experience as an entrepreneur, that is way, way, way harder. So in the beginning, I recommend using customers to fund your business. Now, if your business does have a little bit more of an upfront cost associated with it, which I don't recommend doing this, but I have done this in the past, you can use the second C, which is credit cards. The reason why I like credit card debt is they're some of the easiest loans to get. You can get approved for credit pretty easy, and if you don't pay them, they will charge it off or they'll negotiate lower than they should to pay it off, which is different from a hardcore business loan, which is very difficult to get and hard to get rid of. You actually have to bankrupt yourself a lot of the times to get rid of it, versus credit card debt that you can just kind of ride out. And it's different from raising friends and family money, meaning reaching out to your friends and family to get $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, because if you screw up, you don't lose your friends and family. You don't violate their trust. What should you spend the money on, and when should you go the credit card route? I would hit them back to back. So if you really want to grow your company fast, I would, one, spend a lot of time getting deals before you spend any money on your business. So similar to the $152,000 deal I was talking about, send your cold emails, make your sales, follow the stuff in the course Email 10K, or even just watch more of these YouTube videos. We've got hundreds of videos in the back catalog all about how to sell more, how to find customers. So find a few customers, get your company up to the point where it's making a decent amount, but really what you want to get your company to is you want your company to a point where you know that if you spend $1, you're going to make $3 or $4 from it. And what that looks like is you have a marketing system that works. So you know if you send 100 cold emails, you're going to generate a deal worth $3,000. Then it's worth spending money on people to send the cold emails for you, because then you're gonna take it to the next level. The mistake that I made as an entrepreneur early on was spending on credit cards first before we had a business concept that worked. Because what happens then is you end up in a bunch of credit card debt that takes years to pay off. And it's a debt spiral. I got to the point where I was paying $1,000 a month just in credit card payments, and it really slowed me down for a really long time. It's important to test your cold email subject lines to get an 80% open rate. The trick is to test a new subject line every 10 emails. 50 plus subject lines in a Google Doc that you can test with your cold email campaigns. You can have that for free. Experiment27.com/subject. So you don't want to invest money, whether it's credit cards, friends and family, or money that you're raising, into a business concept until you've proven not just that people want it, but that people are willing to pay you. So go for the customers first, get customers to perk up and hand you actual cash, not just customers that are interested in buying, but get them all the way to the close. And then if you want to put money on a credit card or ask your friends and family for money or get a traditional business loan, then you can do that. But I would not recommend doing any of that until you have money in your bank account from a customer buying your thing that you're trying to raise money for. And ideally, you want 3 customers that are disconnected from each other. That way you know that it's not just a fluke. And you might say, well, my app or my software is too complex and we need money to build this thing in the way that's going to get people to buy. And to that, I'll say, if you're a new entrepreneur, pick a different idea that is easier to do. If you're not a new entrepreneur, find another video on how to raise capital, or ask one of your entrepreneur friends, or do friends and family, but I'd still do the same thing. What I would do is take your idea, this big app idea, and boil it down to the simplest possible model, and then go for that. So for instance, one of our consulting clients had this very complex app that he was trying to sell to city governments. And he thought he needed to spend 8 to 12 months building this system and architecting it out. Instead, what we did together was he sent cold emails and cold called 20 cities, ended up doing 4 meetings with city directors. And by the end of those 4 meetings, he knew that there was already a similar program in place, meaning he had a case study. But what he also learned was that selling to cities takes months, if not years, and he didn't have the passion for it. So he could have spent 8 to 12 months and raised money on an application and built this whole thing out and then done the city calling and found that out. But instead, by calling the customers and trying to get that money now, he saved 8 to 12 months of his life working on an app that wasn't going to work for him. So that's why I recommend customers first before raising any money, and then the lowest risk money that you can raise is credit cards. Lowest risk meaning easiest to write off and no risk to your relationships. So that's that. Any questions you have about this topic would be very much appreciated. Would love to get a conversation going. Like this video to encourage this type of content in the future, and subscribe to this channel, plus watch all of our past videos. We have a lot of good content about business, sales, entrepreneurship, and how to start and grow your company. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.